우리 그 방위 분담 협상에 대한 한미 간에 어떤 자세로 우리가 해야 할 것인가 하는 것을 좀 한번 말씀을 해주시면 좋을 것 같고요. 또 하나는 저희 아까 말씀하신 우리 사이버 스페이스의 사이버 어택 이런 문제인데, 제가 지난번에 하와이에 어떤 회의에 갔더니 미국군에서 가장 심각하게 느끼는 것 중에 하나가 사이버 공격입니다. 그래서 이 사이버 공격에 대한 이게 사실 보이지 않는 전쟁이 돼가지고 사이버 공격이나 이 문제가 심각한데, 아까 지금 말씀하시면서 이제 미국이 사이버 스페이스에 대해서도 모든 사람이 자유롭게 접근할 수 있는 그런 그를 보장하기 위해서 노력한다 하는 건데, 이런 미국에서의 사이버 스페이스에 대한 외부의 공격에 대한 어떤 식으로 우리가 방향을 미국이 잡고 있는지 그런 거에 대해서 좀 구체적인 말씀을 해주시면 고맙겠습니다.
I had the great honor of dancing with his daughter at her wedding. And so we're great friends, and I will never forget that. It was wonderful. Defense budget sharing is always a difficult issue. To be honest with you, I don't think it's as much about the actual amount of money as it is about the theory. And certainly the Republic of Korea doesn't want to pay for anything. I mean, that's just human nature. But the facts are that over the years, good allies who recognize the importance of maintaining a strong defense on the peninsula to send a clear message to North Korea and other potential belligerents in the region. And it is of great interest that the Republic of Korea, perhaps even during some difficult times, has always, for years, contributed enormously to the burden sharing for operational forces here. As I said, this past year alone, nearly $800 million for operational costs. I am 100% certain that when the negotiations begin following the SCM, and these will be long-term, maybe one-year-long negotiations, that we will come up with a good agreement between both nations. I don't know if the percentage of contribution by the Republic of Korea will go up or whether it will go down. But I do know that the Republic of Korea has always shown good faith, and so will the United States. I think we should not be emotional. We should not let this become a political issue. We should let good diplomats sit down and determine what makes sense. I always said when I was commander that I believed 50% would be a good number. We've never achieved that. So you can be certain that the U.S. side will ask for more to move the number towards 50%. And the U.S. side can also be certain that the Republic of Korea will not make that too easily happen. We will work this out, as good friends and good allies always do, without becoming emotional. Second, cyber security. Cyber war is real. The United States has conducted offensive operations in the past. It has defended itself in the past. This will become more important in the future. Other countries in the world have conducted offensive operations, and other countries have defended themselves. The issue is for our economies. How do we defend Apple company from cyber attack? What's their response? What about Samsung? What is Samsung's responsibility to defend itself? What's the Minister of Defense's responsibility to defend Samsung? These are wonderful questions in a new era to ask and to resolve. Let there be no doubt. Cyber attacks can be more lethal to a nation than a nuclear attack. While they might not destroy infrastructure, they can destroy an economy. And when you destroy economy, people can be hurt even more than they can in kinetic war. So this has got to be a vital national interest area for the United States and our allies. And I am fairly confident that we are learning this quickly. Regrettably, I don't think we're learning as quickly as we should. But I am also confident that we are on the right path now, for the last 2 years at least. Thank you for two really good questions.
미국의 이제 오바마 정부가 제2기 정부가 이렇게 들어서는데 또 한국 정부도 이제 새롭게 들어서고 그렇다면은 저희들이 이제 좀 새로운 어떤 방법을 좀 모색을 해야 되지 않겠느냐. 시간이 급하다는 거죠. 그래서 이런 점에 대해서 벨 사령관님의 고견은 어떠신지 좀 묻고 싶습니다.
We did not serve together too long, but it was a wonderful several months when we had the opportunity. Thank you. I appreciate it. This is my view, and I say this in the United States very often. You can't simply walk away and forget about the lethal provocations that North Korea extracted against the Republic of Korea. The sinking of your corvette, the ship, the attack on your island where Korean citizens were killed and injured, requires more from North Korea before talks could be started, in my view. I do not believe it is proper for a sovereign nation to just forget about that and say, let's start talking. I think both governments, United States, Republic of Korea, would be well advised to offer to North Korea an opportunity. Indeed, Madam Pak, your president-elect, has spoken frequently about the opportunity that North Korea has to begin reform and to enter into discussions. Having said that, I believe it is necessary for North Korea to admit and apologize for these provocations before any kind of talks could be resumed that would be meaningful. That's my personal view. And to date, there has been no remorse or apology by the North in any way. Worse, they clearly are continuing their provocative methodologies, not only with a missile launch and not only with the procurement of mobile missile launchers, which suggests they're trying to develop an ICBM mobile capability, but also we see clearly that they're preparing for a nuclear test. This is not the way to communicate that they're interested in talks. So I think both the United States, Republic of Korea, Japan, other interested countries need to remain strong, offer to the North opportunity. I agree totally with your President-elect's position, and I am hopeful that the new leader in Pyongyang will seize this moment because it is a special moment. And a moment like this doesn't come along very often. If, however, Kim Jong-un conducts a nuclear test, as I predict he will, this means that we're in for a long time of required sanctions, of continued work with the Chinese to help resist the North Korean development of nuclear weapons, and it means that the United States must prepare to defeat any type of nuclear aggression by North Korea. And we have to make certain that we're ready for that. So I agree with you, General Lee. It's an opportune time. I believe that the burden is on North Korea to apologize for its lethal provocations against the Republic of Korea, and in doing so, invite an opportunity for talks to begin again. Thank you.
제가 알고 싶은 건 미국 의회에서도 이 방위비 분담 협정에 대해서 우리 한국과 같은 그런 진통을 겪으면서 진행이 되는지 제 기억으로 우리 배사령관님께서도 그때 위트니스로 참석을 하셨던 걸로 알고 있습니다만 그 부분과 또 오늘 발표해 주신 두 번째 질문은 오늘 발표해 주신 내용이 1년 전에 준비가 되기 때문에 최근에 전개되고 있는 중국과 일본, 한국 간의 그 영토 분쟁이 전혀 그 고려가 되지 않은 것으로 보입니다. 그래서 미리 준비는 안 하셨겠지만 이게 군사적 측면에서는 어떠한 영향을 미칠 것인지 향후에 미국의 국방 정책에 어떤 영향을 미칠 것인지에 대해서 간단히 좀 말씀 좀 부탁드리겠습니다. 감사합니다.
Yes, thank you, sir, for great questions. I will readdress burden sharing. You are absolutely correct that 5 years ago, the political environment between our two countries was stressed. And as a result, all negotiations, it didn't matter whether it was the free trade agreement, whether it was burden sharing, whether it was base turn-ins, environmental issues, all issues were elevated quickly to political level, making it very difficult for all of us, both Koreans and Americans, to negotiate in good faith. Made it very difficult. However, even in that difficult environment, we reached resolution that was fair and equitable, in my view, to both nations, with the bigger picture being the coherency of the alliance. Every time the Republic of Korea and the United States have a political confrontation, we are damaging the alliance. And so we need to be very thoughtful about the bigger issue of peace, stability, and security in Northeast Asia, the epicenter of which is the Republic of Korea, the center of the argument. I am very confident that that political approach from both countries has not been present lately, and I don't believe that the political issues will be significant in the upcoming negotiations. They'll be in the background. They will be very real, but I don't think they will be at the top of the agenda. I believe that at the top of the agenda will be the nature of the alliance, the requirement for the alliance to remain strong and healthy on its 60th anniversary, and the need for all the allied partners to continue to focus on the outcome, and that is a North Korea that accepts the international community and becomes a member of the international community and recognizes the beauty of reintegration with the South in a single Korea, focused on free markets and democracy. I mean, that's the goal. It's what we all want. I want to take my granddaughter, Jin Hee, across what used to be the DMZ while I'm alive. That's why I look younger now, because I'm going to get younger until I do that. Now, so I think those will be tough negotiations. They will be characterized by efforts in the media and the press and some political circles to explode them, but good diplomats will find good solutions. And we will not let the alliance be the casualty of these negotiations. I am very optimistic. If we survived the negotiations 5 years ago, we're going to do very well on this round, with both countries having very strong positions, understandably. Your issue about territorial disputes, we did address this as part of the argument about global commons, because when you have a territorial dispute, the question is who owns the thing. In some cases, it's very clear. In most cases, it is not. Historically, usually in territorial disputes, both nations in the conflict can point out a time when they were the owner of that territory, whether they were justified or not. They can still point this out. So what we have to ensure is that one, territorial disputes that the Republic of Korea has with its neighbors do not escalate. Because if they do, that gives North Korea an opportunity to split the alliance. And so issues like Dokdo, the island, which need to be resolved, and there's a method to resolve that, cannot be used by North Korea as a tool to split the United States, Japan, and the Republic of Korea from our good alliance. Likewise, China in the South China Sea and other areas is asserting itself and laying claim to any number of islands, and there are at least 5 countries that they are in disputes with right now. And so this is why it is crucial for the United States to ensure that our pivot to Asia has a strong naval and air component so that we can assist our allies in territorial disputes should that be required. I'm hopeful that our diplomats will continue to help negotiate differences in these territorial disputes. But I also recognize that to prevent one country from taking advantage of another requires strength. And therefore, the United States must demonstrably demonstrate our strength to our allies, one of our great allies being the Republic of Korea, and assist you in your negotiations with territorial disputes. So I don't have an answer. I just know that strength is important, and we have to remain strong here in this region. Thank you.
그 벨 전 사령관이 2006년에 한국에 있을 때 그 전시작전 통제권 이전에 대해서 매우 긍정적으로 평가를 하면서 한국이란 주권 국가가 통제권을 갖는 것은 아주 적절하다고 본다, 이런 언급을 했었고, 그다음에 그것에 대해서 매우 지지적인 그런 말씀을 많이 했었는데요. 그 당시의 상황과 지금 그 한미 관계 상황을 좀 비교를 해주셨으면 좋겠고요. 두 번째로는 그 북한 정세가 급변하고 있는데 그 당시에 느꼈던 북한과 지금 현재 북한의 가장 핵심적인 차이점이랄까, 그 위기가 만약에 고조됐다면 어떤 것 때문에 가장 위기가 고조되고 있다고 보는지, 그 두 가지를 좀 한미 관계 발전상, 그 다음에 바람직한 전시작전권 통제 이후에 그런 상황, 그 다음에 그 당시와 현재의 북한 상황을 좀 분석해 주셨으면 감사하겠습니다.
Thank you for a great question. I believed then, and I believe now, that OPCON transfer remains appropriate for this alliance. It recognizes the leadership capacity of your admirals and your generals to defend your sovereign nation under their good offices. Believe me, your generals and admirals are practitioners of military art and science. They are far superior to the military leaders in North Korea. They will extract a deadly price if North Korea were ever to attack your nation. So to deprive your Korean citizenry of having their own generals and admirals lead you in defense of your nation, I feel is inappropriate. I think you all agree with me on that. The issue is, of course, not OPCON transfer at all. The issue is commitment by the United States and a fear, justifiably a fear, that without a U.S. general in charge, the United States might back away from our allied commitment to you in times of trouble. Indeed, if you go back 64 years, I guess, and review the speech by Dean Acheson in Washington, if you're a Korean, this is very troubling. When the senior diplomat of America left Korea out of our so-called strategic area of interest. And so it is very understandable that the Korean government needs something more than words of assurance that America will be here for you if you're threatened by North Korea or other military powers in the region. That's why the organization of OPCON transfer, the role of the American generals and admirals is important. The demonstration of American commitment is important. How do you demonstrate commitment? You do it several ways. One, permanently assigned forces, for starters. If you have rotational forces that have a home base in the United States, the commitment is less because all you have to do is stop rotating them. But if they're permanent bases here, that sends a very strong signal to everyone that we are here and we are ready to defend alongside our allied partner. Last, and I feel strongly about this, American families. American families here living with American service members are the strongest demonstration of American commitment to the Republic of Korea possible. If my granddaughter, Jin-hee Bell, was here with her mom and dad on this ground, I would go to war to protect her. Now, we did this in the Cold War. My first assignment in the American Army as a second lieutenant was guarding the east-west German border from Soviet invasion. My wife was 11 kilometers to the rear of me in the face of 6 Soviet divisions, all of which had nuclear tactical weapons. But my government sent my wife there. My son was born there. My very son, whose daughter now is Jin-hee Bell. I strongly support the forward stationing of American families with their service members on this soil as a commitment, as a demonstration of the commitment of the American society to defend your nation. It will send a signal to the North of our commitment. And last, if in the worst situation possible, it appeared war might start, we do have the plans in place and we exercise them to help ensure the safety of American citizens, just as we practiced in the Cold War in Europe. So my view is that the issue is not OPCON transfer. The issue is, how does America demonstrate commitment if we conduct OPCON transfer? We demonstrate commitment by maintaining a strong treaty. We demonstrate commitment by permanently assigned forces ashore here. We demonstrate commitment by increasing the number of families authorized to live here with their service members. That's very difficult because America doesn't want to spend the money. That's where Korea can help us. So when we get into burden sharing talks, my view is that Korea needs to recognize and help us wherever possible within your capability in encouraging the United States government to allow our families to come forward, live here, learn your culture, become friends with Korean citizens, and stand together into the depth of the 21st century. So that's my view on OPCON transfer. I support it. These generals, some of which are in this room, are better than most American generals and admirals, and they should be in the lead of defending your nation. You need a guarantee of our commitment, and I've given you the way to achieve that. Tensions with Kim Jong-un? Yeah. A lot of people are excited about some of his outreach. Can I call it outreach? But when you really look at him, he's simply behaving like his grandfather, in my view, who was more outgoing. His dad was very recluse. I think only one sentence was ever recorded that he said. So we don't know what Kim Jong-un is going to do yet. It's too early. He said some positive things about economic development. But we haven't seen much up there except continued provocations. We saw him dealing with his army in close proximity to Korean islands along the NLL. We've seen him launch a missile. We've seen him preparing for a nuclear test. These are demonstrable realities. So it will take a lot of action on Kim Jong-un's part to change the course of North Korea. It's not too late. I pray that he will, but we must remain strong while we learn what his motives really are. Thank you.